Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fantastic spiritual spotlight series. I am joined by the fabulous Winslow Vail. She is a 7 Cups of Consciousness practitioner, and she also runs a fairy mail business with delivery to your doorstep. She's also certified in other modalities, but I want to get started with the interview. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. It's such a treat and an honor to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. So I want to jump right in. And for those that do not know Aleya Dao's work, one of the things that she certifies people in is a 7 Cups of Consciousness practitioner. And that's a new thing. Can you tell us a little bit about what is a 7 Cups of Consciousness practitioner?
Yes. So
That
the
might take the
seven,
whole interview.
right, I know. In a short, sweet and short, the 7 cups of consciousness it's 7 core concepts created by Aleya Dao, who is a master sound healer and a master teacher and a master energy
Oh,
balancer, among many things.
yes.
And so the 7 core concepts teach us how to access our energy fields, how to connect in with the higher dimensions to positively impact our life, and how to navigate challenges in an empowered and gentle way. And
True.
so I started working with Aleya when I was 17,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I know,
That's a
but
long time.
a
Well,
long time.
15 years?
Yes. Yeah, 15 years or so.
Wow. How did you get drawn to her work at 17?
I have one of my godmothers was connected with Aleya, and I had a particular challenge in my life, and my godmother suggested the idea, and I thought, sure, I'm totally open.
I love that. Can I say that how I I have a funny story for you. I learned about Aleya probably 9 or 10 years ago, and I was calling a psychic hotline, and they said, you might really want to look into this practitioner. She does energy
Wow.
management, and
Yeah.
ever since then,
That is so cool.
and I'm like, who is this Aleya Dao?
Right. Yes. Such an amazing person, and it's such an amazing modality.
It truly is, and I just think that's phenomenal that that is what you do, because I love that work. I love the whole energy
Mhm.
balancing and the energy management and the mirroring the right behavior, and then she's just, oh, it's just beautiful. It's such
Mhm.
beautiful work that you're doing. Now, one of the things is that you really work with kids and children. So I guess I want to take it back to, how did you know that you want to
Yeah.
work with children?
Well, the last decade, I've been working in various capacities with kids and with teenagers, and in the US, and then also internationally in Mexico and the Dominican Republic
Yeah.
and different places. And so I love that age group. I feel that really everyone, but I feel that children and teenagers, they have such a magic about them in their
Mhm.
own unique way. And because I started working with Aleya Dao when I was 17, and I felt how those energetic tools that she taught me in
Yeah.
my one-on-one sessions and in her
Yeah.
daily cups really were a game changer in my life. I always reflected and thought, I wonder how it would have been had I learned these tools when I was 5 or when I was 8 or when I
Right.
was 12. So that because they can be learned at any age.
So
And so
true.
that's been my passion to work with children and also coaching parents.
I think it's phenomenal that you hold space for children and adolescents and teenagers who, may have this. I do feel like right now that there are children that are having this heightened awareness, which
Mhm.
I believe you're probably seeing that as well. How do you kind of help those clients that come to you that are having this increased sensitivity?
From my perspective, I do feel that all children and really all of us have a sensitivity and are energetically sensitive. And the key is that we are in a place where we can be physically and emotionally and energetically safe.
Yes.
And when we feel validated and encouraged to connect in with our inner essence and the qualities that flow within us, then that's the beginning.
So what you just said was, how does someone know if they're energetically safe? That's kind of an interesting, I love that. How do you know that? Like, how does someone know that?
That is so that yes. Well, there's a couple that because safety is so key,
It's so
and
true.
it's so key. And only when we feel safe can we begin to shift. And so there's a couple ways that I really focus on holding a safe container. One of them is through a tool that I learned from Doug Noll, who's a master teacher and mediator, called affect labeling. And that can be a
Yeah.
piece to discuss.
Yeah.
So that's basically validating people's emotions, reflecting their emotions back to them.
Yeah.
And when we're validated emotionally, we do feel emotionally safe. And then another aspect and way that I create a safe space is with kind of from the perspective of the 7 cups of consciousness, is to really be attached to an inner river of light that flows within me. I'm only responsible for my inner light, not who I'm working with. And I'm just holding a kind of a curious, compassionate stance of like, what's going on? And so people don't feel tentacles on them.
It's like reminding you to put on your sunglasses when somebody's, you're looking and assisting a client. You can't be, yeah, you got to model
I
right
love that.
behavior.
Yeah, it's like, sunglasses on your head.
Yeah. Sorry about my dog.
Hi, dog.
Hello, it's Gatsby. He's always like to say hello to everyone. So I'm going to go back to the Doug Noll, and what is emotional competency and affect labeling, and how has that training helped you with your current healing business?
So emotional competency it means that we have a high degree of self-regulation, that we can self-regulate our feelings and not feel dictated by our emotions. And the key to self-regulation and emotional competency is to first be emotionally self-aware. And the way to develop, because this is a skill that we can learn at any age. And so the way to develop your self-awareness around emotions is by affect labeling. And affect labeling is a tool where you reflect back people's emotions to them using a simple I statement. And so that can be casually, if you're around kids, it can be, oh yeah, you're really excited and you're really happy about that, or you're really worried or you're really anxious. So it's very simple.
Yeah.
And yet it's not a tool we're taught in today's world yet. And so that's really the key tool of affect labeling. And you can also use it for yourself, where you can begin to reflect to yourself like, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm feeling stressed. And that then builds an emotional awareness and database.
And then with that emotional database, like let's say you say, I'm feeling really stressed, then how are you able to then balance it?
Well, that first piece is, just about being aware of how you're feeling. And
almost
Doug,
recognizing.
and Doug Noll, because it's a really key tool, and it's actually a tool that in 3 months working on, you can really master, at least at one level.
Yeah.
And so he really gets into, because there is science behind it, and what happens with your prefrontal cortex when you feel validated emotionally. And so it's a wonderful tool to learn. I use it in every aspect of my life, with friends, with family, with work. It's really effective if people are emotionally charged, and to de-escalate them. And that's actually Doug Noll's book, which I recommend reading. It's called De-Escalate.
I'm gonna write that
And
down.
yeah, it's that, starting with that. And he
Yeah,
gives so many examples of if you're working with kids or if you're working with a coworker
yeah,
or a really charged family member. And he also has a course called Developing Emotional Competency
nice.
that I've taken a couple times now. So it's a skill we can all
Just
learn.
build
It
on.
doesn't matter if we're
Yeah.
80 or 4.
Right. And I mean, you just bring up such a valuable point right now and kind of how things are in the day-to-day environment. Like for someone like myself who manages a doctor's office and people come in emotionally charged, having a skill set to be able to de-escalate is just such a powerful tool to have. Because sometimes when you meet, if you're not trained in it like you are, you meet emotion with emotion that's
Right.
volatile and there's an explosion.
Right. And affect labeling gives you always know how to respond, because for me, I really feared conflict and intense emotions, and I did not like
Yeah.
that at all. I felt really uncomfortable, didn't really know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And yet with affect labeling, all you have to do is reflect the emotions, which kind of keeps it on them. You then can stay really calm and centered
Right.
because you're not making it about you and you're never second guessing what to say.
All right. I'm hanging up with you. We're gonna take this training now. I love that. That sounds really like, oh, I'm super excited. I will make sure to link his book when I put up this video for sure. Now, I want to go back to working with the children and the adolescents. Is there any stories you might want to share about the success that you've had in coaching children along with, the parents as well?
I would say right now I've been working with a number of children, teenagers, children, but primarily 10 and 11, 12-year-old boys. And
Boys need
I've
it right
been,
now.
yeah,
They
and
do.
I find that they have an amazing kindness within them, and yet they don't see that as their strength. And so they feel insecure at school and
Yeah.
socially, and and so that just ripples into their life. And so I've been coaching them gently to feel, because the first core concept from the perspective of the 7 cups of consciousness is that you are a beam of light, as radical as that sounds, and you're riding in your body, and your body is its own consciousness from earth. And so the first step with when I work with children, really
Mhm.
anyone of any age, is feeling into that divine line, or you could call it your star line, or an
Mhm.
inner river of light. Kids often like a waterfall of light. And so to have them imagine that they're standing in
Mhm.
a waterfall of kindness. And then I coach them to feel into, okay, well, what color is it today? And what sounds do you hear? And what does it smell like? And what does it taste like? And how is it moving? And reminding them that their kindness is their superpower, it protects them, it supports them, and that's really their power. And to link their self-worth with
Mhm.
their
Yes.
kindness, so that no matter what happens in the outer world and friends and school and grades, that they always can find their self-worth and self-confidence within.
I love that. And I think you speak to with working with males that there's almost some deprogramming for the super masculine and always have to be tough and always have to be alpha. And I love that you're really kind of, nope, let's go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, and that is the core part of the 7 cups of consciousness, is recognizing that whatever you value, freedom, kindness, peace, you actually have flowing within you. And those qualities are amazing vibrations that hold particular frequencies. And that is your power and that is your strength. And it protects you as you value it and receive it more.
I love that. I love that. Now, I don't know if you actually ever feel overwhelmed because you have these amazing tools, but if you ever do feel overwhelmed, what spiritual tools do you kind of go to use if you ever kind of feel this feeling of too much?
Yes, and overwhelm right now, a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed,
Yes.
and we all do at different points in time. And so the first cup of the seven cups of consciousness talks about how we are multidimensional
Hmm.
beings and we're expressing ourselves in the physical dimension, but also in multiple other dimensions, which is so exciting. And so for many of us, that the physical dimension we can imagine as like the first floor of a building or a lobby floor. And it is really loud right now. It's really loud, it's busy, it's stressful, there's a lot of fear, a lot of overwhelm. And so the journey is recognizing that you are a multidimensional being. And when you pull yourself into your inner river of light using your inhale, it's really as simple as using your inhale, pulling yourself within, using your imagination,
Hmm.
that gets you energetically online. And when it's like your elevator shaft. And then you can travel up to other floors and other dimensions far beyond the mind.
Hmm.
And so with the overwhelm, I encourage you to pull yourself in to that inner river of light, your elevator shaft, and then to feel into a dimension or a zone or a perch that's far beyond Earth. And
Absolutely.
maybe it's like a mountaintop or a magical forest or a cave or a magical land, whatever you imagine is perfect. And you can just feel into how in that perch way above Earth, it's actually really quiet and it's calm and you can breathe and you have clarity and perspective. And so, if this work and Rachel's spotlight series resonates with you, you're definitely at a point in time where you don't need to be holding all your awareness on the first lobby floor where it is really
Yeah.
stressful and like whew, full on. And you can find your perch up high and reference the quiet, the calm, the clarity, whatever you desire in that realm.
I have such chills. It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And that's right. I mean, for those that are familiar with the work that we do, we do talk about being multidimensional and that our energetic bodies can kind of go off into these other dimensions and gather energetic healing and kind
Mhm.
of bring it back into our physical body.
Yeah, definitely. Because the outer world is a reflection of our inner world. And so, if we want to change our physical reality, we can make requests for the higher dimensions and our inner river of light to hold particular
Yeah.
vibrations. And that then does ripple and reflect into this realm.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, energy balancing and just it's such a powerful tool that I know a lot of people are tapped into, but those that are not, familiar with it, it's just what are some tips that maybe you can share with somebody that may have an energy imbalance and may be unaware of that?
Well, regarding energy fields, we all have energy fields
Yeah, we all
and
do
they
multiple.
yeah, and they surround us and you're using them more than you think on a daily
Absolutely.
basis. And so even and everyone is even when you reflect on situations when you felt a little uncomfortable and a little like something's a little off in a certain situation, your energy fields are picking up on that first.
So true.
And then you might feel into a person or situation when you felt really calm and safe, and your energy fields are feeling that first. And so, because your inner world is a reflection of your outer world, when you make requests for your energy fields to hold particular vibrations, that then will ripple and reflect into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And one way to start is to feel into, well, if you had a magic wand, what like, how would you want to feel? And really go for the quality. You might first think, oh, I'd love to not be able to have to tend all these people or have so much work to do. But then if you didn't have to tend all those people or go to those jobs, how would you feel? So to really think of the emotion, and so it might be peace, or you'd feel calm and relaxed. And so then when you land on that emotion, then you can actually activate and amplify that peace, that quality in your inner river of light, which will ripple and reflect into the outer world. Sometimes it's a question of time, depending on how intense that trigger and challenge is, but it always will reflect.
And then once you become used to doing it, it does become almost like it's quicker. You can shift easier and faster, and triggers that may, like you said before, that you had within, they're not as intense.
Right. Yeah. And it's the 7 cups of consciousness it's more like a lifestyle than a one-off,
So
because
true.
it's
So
tools you can
true.
use every day in every situation. And it might appear to be a lot of information, but at its core, it's actually a really streamlined modality that
Absolutely.
anyone can learn.
Mhm.
Energy balancing and using your energy fields, it's not for someone that's beyond your reach or someone out there that has magic powers that you
No.
don't have. You actually, like, everyone can learn
So
this
true.
modality to the degree that they choose.
You know, to be honest, I was not trained in any modalities before I started listening to like her cups of consciousness and her energy meditations. And, then she came out with her book. And I remember like, and then it led me into getting certified in different modalities. But for me, I was going through, obviously, I was on a psychic line. I was going through a really difficult time in my life. And it really helped me to transform a sense of overwhelm, depression, feeling down, hard on myself, to really kind of, all right, Rachel, you can tap into this inner river of light
Right.
and then shift. And then for me, balance was so important.
Right. Yeah. And you felt calmer and
Yes.
lighter
And now
and
when I
more
have my
balanced.
moments, I'm like you said, tap into that, pull yourself in.
Yeah. Because what's so hard to grasp in our society is that it's actually never about the outer situation.
Right.
That's the, like, tap tap. It's about us wanting to cultivate particular qualities and vibrations
Yeah.
like freedom or power or strength to a greater degree.
Yeah. I just love it. Love it, love it, love it.
And the little tidbit to add
Oh, I
is
love
that
tidbits. I'm like yelling,
tidbit,
yeah, I love tidbits.
the little tidbit is that as an energetic practitioner, when I'm working with anyone,
Mhm.
I'm never doing anything to you.
Mm,
I'm
good point.
simply modeling a particular way inside myself, walking you through an energetic process
Yeah,
that we call a protocol, and sending you appropriate energetic information, but you are totally bringing it in your own unique way to the degree you choose. And that keeps it really clean and clear.
absolutely.
And I love that aspect of the work, that there's no messiness
And
and
you're
desiring
choosing to bring
involved.
it in. You're like,
Mhm.
if you're working with me, I'm choosing to channel in that energy. Yeah. I love, and I do say it's almost like consent.
Yes, because even maybe we both want peace or freedom, but everyone does it all in their own way.
Right. And your definition of peace and freedom may be very different than what my
Mhm.
definition of peace and freedom is. Because maybe I like high energy and high octane, and that's peaceful
Right.
to me. But you're like, I need to be zen and
Mm.
calm. And, it
Right.
just could be too, but that's our definition of peace.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly.
Not that I'm wild and crazy, because I'm not. So I want to shift a little bit into the fairy mail. And how did you start doing that and connecting with the magical realm of the fairies?
I always loved the fairies when I was little. And I just felt that they were there. I didn't necessarily see them or hear them,
Yeah.
but I just felt that they were around me, and I really dedicated my childhood to building fairy houses and writing fairy letters. And for me, it was a place where I felt validated
Yeah.
and soothed, knowing there was this magical realm. And a couple of years ago, I started running after school groups for kids with art and music and crafts. And I started leaving little fairy messages, really with the 7 cups of consciousness in mind,
Hmm.
reminding children to, can they feel their inner spark, and do they, what animal do they want to be this week that would make them feel powerful and strong? And so little messages and ways of viewing the world differently.
Yeah.
And the fairy mail became, when I didn't do fairy mail with the fairies, then it was the kids were really distressed and sad. It became a real highlight. And so that really encouraged me to think about sending mail
Hmm.
with the fairies and the magical realms every week to, so right now I send weekly fairy mail to children and a couple furry friends, a couple magical adults around the world. And the messages are, they're really gentle, they're really supportive. You don't have to believe in fairies, but it's
Right.
just knowing that there's a space of magical beings where you do feel validated and safe. And I do have a couple, I can
Yes.
show you, but all that, they all have a special
Oh, look at
weekly
that.
border.
Oh,
Um, and this one has got, this is was reminding children about their
oh,
inner
I love that. Is that the inner
sparkle.
spark?
Yeah, this one said a couple things, and then it said, and do you know you have an inner sparkle that flows within you? It's as bright as the sparkles from a campfire and a shooting star. Can you feel it within you a little bit or not yet? If you can't quite feel it, imagine holding a candle flame or campfire in your belly. It's warm, beautiful, joyful, and powerful. We see your spark. Hold on to it and keep it burning even when the wind blows. Love, the fairies.
That is beautiful.
So I know. So they're all really
They're
fun.
so cute. I love the
Yeah.
crystals.
Yeah, they're crystals. This got more of a
Oh, it's got a
castle.
castle. I'm like,
So
oh,
I
I'm
know.
like, I want fairy mail. I'm subscribing.
I know. Yeah. So really about just encouraging creativity and imagination um
I would
and love of
imagine that.
nature.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I, I would imagine the fairy mail also would help children that are struggling with kind of how to honor their emotions, and maybe they're having, and I don't really mean to be, maybe they're having nightmares, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's such a, like, hey, like we're here to support you. And
Hmm.
oh
Exactly. Yeah, reminding them that there's other magical lands where they can
yeah,
sit in cotton candy bubbles and it's really gentle, just to remind them too that in so many words that they're multidimensional beings. But we're careful with the language because just to keep it really gentle and positive
yeah.
for all families and children and furry friends around the world.
And I like that you said in the beginning when you're talking about it, is that you may not have saw, when you were younger, fairies, but you always believed in them. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the work in which we do. You may not see it, but know that they're there to support you. Like so
Mhm.
many different magical realms
Right.
surround us and support us.
Mhm. Totally. And realizing that we all have different energetic senses. So some of us feel,
Mm.
some of us see or hear more or smell, and it's there, it's all good. It's all perfect for who you are.
And then I'm going to jump into your childhood because you worked with the fairies. How did you start knowing that you were intuitive or had a heightened sense of these feelings, or maybe you saw, maybe you heard, like you said, how did you kind of start saying, oh, this is a little bit different than maybe other people around you that you were experiencing?
As a child, I always felt that there were the fairies, and I was really fortunate to grow up in a coastal town that was very creative and imaginative.
Yeah.
And so I did have that community support in a gentle way,
Hmm.
unconscious way. And yet then when I was older and started in my late teens and
Hmm.
20s and started working with Aleya Dao and
Hmm.
her modality of the 7 cups of consciousness, I did feel that like a kind of like, oh, like where's the magic? Like I
Right.
know there's fairies, but I wanted more magic in my life.
Yeah.
And I wanted to connect in with the magical realms more, but I didn't really know how.
Yeah.
And so from the perspective of the 7 cups of consciousness, really the first way to connect in with whatever it is, the magical realms, the nature spirits of love and light, your guides, whatever you believe, really is to feel into your inner river of light using your inhale and to get clear on who you are as a beam of
Hmm.
light and to receive that more, to listen to the tone of it more, because when you're receiving your light and getting quiet and calm and clear there, then you have the capacity to connect in with the magical realms or your guides to a greater degree. And so that was really the first step for me, is like going back and going within.
And you kind of bring up, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Brene Brown. A lot of people are
Yeah.
familiar with her. She talks about being in the arena. And
Mm.
I kind of equate the being in the arena for how of all of our teams surround us. And
Mm.
it's almost, for me, I envision like a Care Bear stare, like the rainbow of light, like all of these beams like shooting in. It's
Oh,
like
I
kind
love
of
that.
how
Yeah,
I
that you've got your
envision.
people.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm not to make light of what you're talking about, but it's
Yeah,
just,
but humor is really good because it does shift the energy, and they say too that laughter is most easily heard between the realms,
it's so true.
and it's so fun using your imagination to imagine, because whatever you imagine is perfect and it makes it more real and more fun, and that's key.
As you're talking about magical realms, I have recently been starting to work more with unicorns and more with
Mm.
dragons. So it's fascinating to kind of bring in these other elementals, and they come in from a different dimension. And there's
Mm.
some great audible books like that. There's one lady, I'm not sure what her, I'll make sure to post it, but she's got this awesome like unicorn, when you walk you through a meditation, you connect and they present to you. But I'm older now, but as a child, I probably would not have been as open to it because I did not grow up in a environment of, you know, that
Right, right,
very religious, very like judgmental, not now, but
right.
back then. So I love the fact that you're like, no, yeah, they're there and they're here to support us.
Right. And with some people, it's like they love an animal, or there's a particular
Yes.
nature
Could be
spirit,
a
and
deer, could be
right,
it doesn't matter, rabbit,
right, a wolf
a
or
wolf, yeah,
whatever it is. And
fox,
so,
eagle.
yes, so it's like you can invite your body to connect in with the nature
Yes.
spirits. And so there's so many different ways. It can be the fairies or the unicorns or the mer people or the nature
Oh
spirits.
yeah,
There,
mer
it's
people too. Yes. And
unlimited
whales
possibilities.
and
Right. The
dolphins.
whales, the
I'm like, and
wind.
the angels. I primarily work with the angels. So when I'm doing my
Mm.
work, I'm an integrative energy master trainer, and we work with the 9 angels of that energy field. So I primarily work with the angels to bring them, so I just love it.
Oh, yeah, that's so special.
It is so, I'm like, yes, thank you. This is about,
Mm.
sorry, I'm getting a little punchy. I apologize. It's just the
This is
energy.
great.
It's, it's very
Joyful.
joyful and playful. So it's like,
Totally.
and I
And
will say one of the intentions when I am doing um Aleya's meditations, I always try to go for joy as one of the vibrations I bring in. So I love that you're like, peace and calm. And I just, yeah, I try to tap
right.
into joy.
Totally. Yes. And that then like you embody such joy. And that's one of your masteries is
Yeah,
joy
exactly.
within, which is so, so cool.
It ripples out. I love that. Um, so you coach children on how to connect with their essence and magic so they feel confident, connected, and calm in any situation. And how has that impacted your life by doing that work?
From the perspective of the 7 cups of
Mhm.
consciousness and that modality, it is about meeting your needs internally. And so, whatever you desire in the outer world is just getting your attention to then meet that need within.
Yeah.
And so, I do love the work and working like I love this modality and I work to always feel my fulfillment internally,
Yeah.
to meet my needs internally so that I'm not going, and that's a core piece of this work is
Yeah.
to not go to the outer world to meet your needs. And so I do consciously do my inner work so that I am finding my fulfillment within, my happiness, joy within, and not putting that burden on
Someone
the
else.
work and the kids
Yeah.
and the parents and whoever I'm working with. And so it's really a journey of retrieving all responsibility off the outer world for meeting our particular needs, which is hard because it's the opposite of what we're taught and what
It's
we
so
learn
true. It's so
around the
true.
world.
I do love when, and I would imagine that you also do this in your protocols. I love it when we send it back to whomever it belongs to.
Right. Yes, totally. And that's a key piece is either you're in an energetic process called the protocol, you're either walking someone through returning responsibility that you might be holding for someone's safety, for
Right.
example, and then or retrieving
Mm,
responsibility for feeling safe within. So that is a key piece, returning or retrieving.
because we do, I feel, and you can say yes or no, we may unconsciously put responsibilities on
Oh,
other people, and also, they put it on us as well.
yeah. Yeah, that's a bit and that's the journey of moving from being codependent, which is really what we're taught in the world. So
Yeah.
it's nothing to feel bad about because now it's just bringing in new tools
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to be co-creative
Mm-hmm.
and modeling particular vibration solutions internally, which then people can pick up in their own way. And it keeps your fields really strong and coherent.
You are just giving us all the nuggets. I mean, it's very powerful work. It truly is. Like, I can't say enough about it. I'm so grateful I met you.
Oh, it's such an honor. And for those of you who are interested to learn more,
Yeah,
there Aleya Dao does have daily
she
cups,
does.
which are yeah, and Rachel,
A
you listen
life.
to those.
I'm a 9-year subscriber, my friend. And the tall cups. And I
Right.
keep mispronouncing her last name, and I apologize because I think it's my southern accent. So Dow. Sorry, I'm saying it
Right.
incorrectly.
Yeah. DAO.
I know, and I call her Deo, and I'm saying it wrong. I apologize to Aleya. I keep saying it incorrectly.
Oh, it's perfect. And
But
yet,
you can get 5 meditations for
yeah.
free if you do go to her website. You can sign up, and I'll make sure to link it.
Mhm.
And they're phenomenal. And she does a Saturday share that she does for free, and I do post those in the group every week. So if
Yeah.
anyone's more interested in, it's phenomenal work. It's really
Mhm.
has really transformed my whole spiritual inner practice of just being present with myself and with the people that I'm with.
Yeah. Yeah. You like have your anchor, your inner
Yeah.
anchor, regardless of the crazy outer world that might happen or might not.
And the amazing thing about her work and your work as well, because you're one of her practitioners, is that she really and you really go into what's happening in the universe now. Like, this is the energy that's coming on the planet. These are the grids that are splitting away. These are the discordant energies that are not serving us. Well, let's do a protocol to walk you through it so you do feel the calm and the sense of peace and not as anxious or overwhelmed. It's just, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're so beautiful. And what I love about them too is that it's like she says the daily cups,
Yeah.
cup of coffee or tea,
So
that
true.
you don't have to be sitting there with
No.
your eyes shut. You can, but you
No.
also can be brushing your teeth and
Yep.
combing your hair, and your energy fields
Mhm.
are doing the work. So it's really a simple way of every day having
Yeah.
a little gem to set and balance your day.
And her
And
tall cups are
right,
are those, I think they're every 3 weeks.
yeah.
And
Mhm,
those are longer. They're like
mhm,
45 minutes to an hour, and they're
mhm,
more in depth. And I'll be very honest with you. And she tells you how many layers there are. So it's like
yeah.
you can listen, like it's 15 layers. So you might want to
Mhm,
listen to it 15 times, but you don't have to. And you know what I do? I play them as I'm going to sleep because my energetic
mhm,
body is going to
mhm.
receive what it needs to receive.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm always like, that's what I do every night. Let's be honest, guys. I tuck it under
Yeah. Oh, well, that's
and I play it. That's
amazing.
what I do every night.
That is just perfect.
She's like, that girl's a creep. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, because they are, if you do have actually trouble sleeping,
They're phenomenal. It
this
helps me
work,
fall asleep.
yes.
And I will tell you, I almost feel like my soul is eager to listen to them. And I
Mhm.
feel if I don't put it on, and I'm being very honest, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
If I don't put it on, it's almost
Yeah.
like I feel like, what's wrong? I did I forget to do something? Like it's
Yeah.
a sense of, oh,
Right. It's like your seatbelt now or
it's
brushing
so
your
true.
teeth. Key.
It's phenomenal work, and I love that you do it. I love it. Is there anything else that you want? I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, but is there anything that you might want to share for somebody who may be going through a spiritual awakening or anything to kind of help them with this feeling of intensity that some people that are going, because a lot of people I feel are really going through a spiritual awakening. And right now, especially, it's like all the light workers are being asked to kind of, all right, guys, we're here, you know? Any
Hmm.
tips of advice that you may have, even if it's something small?
Yeah. Well, one little nugget is that we often do the opposite of that which we intend until we get to a point in our growth and evolution when we can actually activate that which we intend to master internally in our river of light and in our energy fields. And so if any part of you is called to this work, then you are at a point in your journey where you don't have to be going through all the gnarly pain and the suffering to wake up. And it's not good or bad. Everyone is in a different point of
Mm-hmm.
their journey. It's just that now the 7 cups of consciousness does present a really efficient and elegant and
Yeah.
gentle tool that you can use to grow and evolve. And
Mm-hmm.
so if at this point in time you are feeling a lot of fear or really stressed and anxious, Aleya Dao does have on our website a flip it chart and in her book. And so you can really think, and you can also just ponder yourself, okay, if I wasn't in fear, what's the opposite of fear?
So true.
Like maybe it's trust or peace or
Mm-hmm.
safety. And that's actually what you're after, is the opposite. And so it's just flipping it
Mm-hmm.
and really efficiently taking an inhale, pulling yourself and your energy and awareness into your inner river of light, and then activating that internally and in your energy fields. And you will feel the shift that will then ripple and reflect into your outer world. And you don't have to do like the gnarly gym.
So true. That's so true. And now I just lost my question because I
Oh,
just, that's an awesome answer. I had a question, guys. Now I'm like, let's see here. I had a question.
we have
Okay.
time.
I know she's like,
No
we're not
rush.
going anywhere. We're not. I do want to open it up for the listeners. If anyone has a question, for Winslow, you can take yourself off of mute. It's okay if you don't. Um, but we can open it up for some questions. What was my?
Hmm.
I'm like strangling my brain here. Oh my goodness! Now I'm like, see that this is what happens when the energy's too much.
I know. And the energy is really intense right
It's
now.
really intense right now, and it's
Yeah.
I love the fact that you brought up we do the opposite of what we're intending. So want peace when we're in rage,
Right.
or and it's such a, and to be, just pull yourself back in, and like you said in the beginning, everything comes from within. All of the power, the grace, the ease, the peace that people desire in life can really be, if you go into your inner river of light, you can really tap into all of those vibrations and those feelings. It
Right.
doesn't have to go externally.
No, and I do love this modality because it's so specific as to the how, and it works for everyone. And so many people say, well, you need to cultivate self-love and
But
do
how?
these things, but then you have no clue how.
Right.
And so this is like truly down to the most specific detail, teaching you how to
Yes.
link your self-worth with equality. And it can feel like a lot, but I recommend taking Aleya's Daily Cups
Mm-hmm.
or reading the 7 Cups of
Mm-hmm.
Consciousness book. And really over time, it's really a repetition of the same tools
So true.
that are really simple, and yet they're really profound, and you can use them to the end of the days. And I'm also offering, I have a website, winslowvail.com, and I am offering free 30-minute introductory sessions. So you can
Ooh.
sign up. It then links to aleyadao.com.
Okay.
And in an introductory session, we won't just like do fluff. It will actually, you can bring up a piece that you're wanting to work on, and then I will coach you to walk through an energetic process. So we're actually doing the work, and
Yes.
it's not just like a fluff 30 minutes. It's actually the real
Deal.
deal, which
Oh,
is important to me. I feel like
that's such a
that's always key.
beautiful gift to offer. That's so wonderful. And like you said, that is such a true thing. It's easy to preach, and it's
Mhm,
easy to say, well, you just need to do this. If you just did this, if you
mhm,
just did that. But a lot of modalities don't teach you the tools. And this
mhm.
is actually giving you the tools.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you like the two key tools I feel from today are
Yeah.
the 7 cups of consciousness is really about recognizing that you're a beam of light, and
Mm-hmm.
that you using your inhale, you can pull yourself within and cultivate particular qualities.
Yeah.
And then also the affect labeling to become
Yes.
more emotionally competent. And that is a tool that really quickly you can get a handle on, and you can use it with everyone in your life. And they're both a real game changer.
I'm going to bring you back on, and I'm going to say, listen, this is what I did, and this is how I was able to de escalate some patients.
Totally, totally. Yes.
That is amazing.
It
And
really works. It really
I
works.
know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to sign up for the course as soon as we hang up. Is there any classes, anything that's coming up for you, or anything that you have on the books that you want to share? I know we go to your website, which I'll make sure to link.
Yeah. For the free introductory
Yeah.
classes, just to see if
Huge.
it resonates, if that's something you want to do. If it can be for parents, grandparents, it can
Yeah.
be for anyone, or children.
Okay.
My master is really working with children,
Oh, I want to
parents,
sign myself up.
grandparents.
Yeah.
And there are a handful of other practitioners who we all have kind of a piece of the pie of our own
Nice.
zone.
Kind
And
of
so
niche.
there's a
Yeah.
practitioner who works with beloved relationships, and
Aw.
one who works with really specifically nature spirits, and one who works with people who have transitioned. So there's also other options out
Yeah.
there if those are
Resonate
aspects
with
of your
you.
life that you want to work
Yeah.
with.
And if
And then the
anybody,
fairy mail
I was going to say, if
is,
anyone wants the fairy mail, how do we sign up for that?
and that's also on
Okay.
winslowvail.com with a monthly subscription, and you can do it for a month or 6 months or a year with weekly letters.
And you said you ship international. So if anyone's listening in Australia,
Yeah.
they can tap into that
Yeah.
fairy
I
mail.
think we have some fairy letters in Canada and Switzerland and the UK. So anywhere that there's mail, the
They can get
fairies
it.
will come.
Do you ever put glitter in your fairy mail?
I started that a little bit, but recently, no. We have a
Is it too
special
messy?
envelope. Yes, some of the postal services
Oh,
don't like a lot
like
of
it?
glitter.
Okay.
So we had to turn back from that route.
Mm,
They don't love wax, they don't love glitter.
I'm like, fine.
Yeah. So, but it comes with glitter,
Infused into it.
imaginary glitter,
You know what? It's infused because you're putting the
infused glitter.
energy into the
Hmm.
mail.
Hmm.
I love that.
Exactly.
What do you do for fun?
I Let's see. I grew up on the coast, so
Yeah.
I love water, whether that's being by lakes or rivers, the ocean, and love being outside. And I do play the violin, so I love music.
I took the violin
And
in college. I love that.
oh, you did?
I
Oh,
did.
that is amazing.
It's amazing that you play the violin. It's such a hard instrument.
I know.
Oh my,
It's been, yeah, a long
I didn't say
journey.
I played it well.
But you did it.
I did it. Well, I played the clarinet as a child, and then in college, like you need an elective because I was
Right.
in nursing school. I was like, I took tennis and the violin.
That is so cool.
So random. And backpacking and orienteering because like we're in the Adirondack, so it was a
Right.
course that they offered, and that was amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
That is so cool. It's so fun just to try things.
so true. So true. I was like,
Mhm.
I couldn't hike before then. And then you had to do
Right.
like an overnight and yeah.
That is so cool. You have a lot of courage
Some
just to
days.
try new things.
You know what's interesting is that my mom told me I came into this world being scared of everything. And
Oh,
so I feel that it was a challenge to me to really break out of a lot of fears. That's
huh.
really been like, she's like, you were scared of ice cream, escalators, elevators,
Right.
everything.
And that actually brings up a really key
Oh, yes.
point is that, and I know we're wrapping up, but a final kind
Okay.
of a one key point is that the more sensitive we become, and everyone listening is for sure very sensitive,
Yeah.
the more empathic we become. And so this work is really key because the first step to clearing empathic sensitivity and when you're maybe feeling other
Mhm.
people's thoughts and emotions and behaviors and challenges and you don't even know it's yours. And so the first step is to become aware
Mhm.
of who you are as a beam of light, which are the qualities you value. So whatever you value, you actually have flowing within you. Even if you feel that your outer world maybe doesn't hold a lot of that joy or that freedom,
Mhm.
it's just that you want it more within you, but you have it within you. And once you become clear of who you are as a beam of light, then you cultivate greater discernment. And Aleya Dao has a very clear step-by-step process
Yeah.
to clear empathic sensitivity. And I do that a lot as an
Yes.
energetic coach
Yes.
because a lot of our challenges, maybe even 80% of our challenges aren't even ours. And
So true.
so that
So
is the
true.
big aspect of this work is clearing empathic sensitivity that you're holding and you might not even know that your greatest challenge may not even be yours and probably isn't if you're listening to Rachel's series.
It's so true. Well, I want to say thank you so very much for being open to this interview and for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. And I'm so grateful that you came on. And I look forward to having you come on again and talk about all the amazing stuff that you're working on. And I just want to say thank you so much. And thank you for everyone that joined in on the call today.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone that is listening. You're all amazing, and these tools are all available to you.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great night.